Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today I thought I'd do a little video on my Ford Falcon. It's a 1992 Ford Falcon and I have fitted a turbo Barra motor to it. So it's booked in for a tune this week, and there's just a couple of things I need to tidy up on it and a couple of things I need to fix before it goes in. I'll just run you through some of the things I've done to the car already. BF XR6 turbo engine, Crow valve springs, ARP head studs, Plasma Man intake plenum, FP 800 fuel pressure regulator, 600 by 300 intercooler, 3-inch intercooler piping, Holden Astro power steering pump, a catch can, Walbro 460 in-tank fuel pump, a manualised 4-speed auto, GFB boost controller, B&M Pro ratchet shifter, EDXR6 front end, Momo steering wheel, and XR6 sports dash. 345 ratio LSD, sitting on King super lows, 4-inch dump pipe, 3.5 inch exhaust. It's got the battery in the boot, complete Super Pro bushes from front to rear, a GJ drivelines built tail shaft, big trans cooler in the front. Yeah, I think that's about it. So there's just a few things I need to tidy up on the car before I take it in for a tune. I need to add a radius to the wastegate port on the turbo. They reckon we might have some boost spike issues. One of the threads on the exhaust manifold isn't very happy, so I'm just going to run a tap through that, make sure that's sealed properly. Dipstick tube isn't actually bolted down because it's got the Plasma Man plenum. The tab for the dipstick tube is in a different spot now, so I need to weld that in. These cheap eBay clear indicators are absolute dog shit. Like, look at that gap. They don't fit very well at all. So I'm going to try and straighten that out a little bit. I also want to heat wrap the dump pipe. It's not coated or anything, but it's just, it gets really hot in the car near the tunnel, so got a roll of that here. Let's get to it. So there's the dipstick tube. I've just moved the tab on the tube and bolted it to where the fuel rail sits. I must have mucked up where I measured it because now it's sitting way too high, so the dipstick's not fully in the sump. So I went to the wreckers and went to get a new one, and I actually saw that the dipstick tube is actually bolted to this guy. So that sits in there. And then your dipstick bolts to that. So I've got another dipstick from another Barra, and I'm gonna give that a go. Dipstick is done, so it's almost like the factory position is. Can't do that with one hand, but that's all nice and solid. And it's going into the block the proper way, all the way down. So getting an accurate oil reading. Turbo and this side of the car is all still very hot, so might move on to removing the front end and get that indicator out. So we've got a bit of a line here where it doesn't quite meet up. Not sure if you can sort of tell. This is how you fix it. There's solid. Alrighty, bumper bar's back on. It's all nipped up, nice and tight, and that's flush again. And over here, it's a bit of a gap at the top now, but I can live with that because I can't get my hand in there anymore. So basically all I did was got the heat gun on the tabs, on the 3 tabs that the indicator bolts to the headlight with, melted them, drilled the holes bigger, and I've sort of got a much better fitment now. But these knockoff TYC things from eBay are absolute junk. Getting down to the business end now. Got to take the dump pipe off, the turbo off, disconnect all the lines. Yep, fun times. Time to jack it up again and get underneath it. Dump pipe is gone. It's all pretty tidy down here, nothing's leaking. Unfortunately I couldn't fit it in the vise There just wasn't enough meat on the flange to grab onto, so just mounted it to this old turbo I had kicking around. Now I've got free range to wrap it. This is actually the original turbo that came on the motor. Unfortunately, it's shagged. Alright, we'll keep going. It's getting pretty late now, so I'll just quickly do this and then finish up for the night. Alright, job done. Unfortunately, my camera ran out of storage while I was wrapping it. But it's all done. I had to move the where it was in the vise because the snap ring came loose and it nearly fell out. So I just clamped it to the flange instead of the front housing. So it's all done. Hose clamp's a bit too small, even though it's a 4-inch clamp and that's a 4-inch dump. That's gonna have to get something smaller for some reason. Got the turbo out as well. Came out nice and easy. I reckon it's so much easier taking the turbo out with the manifold instead of trying to unbolt it from the flange. I don't know how anyone does it. It's impossible to get a spanner in there or a socket. So that works. Now ready for tomorrow. I'm gonna call it here. I think I've decided that I'd rather take a cheese grater to the testicles than ever work with this heat wrap stuff. So moving on today, you got to die grind the back of the turbo, and gonna put thread replacement in that port there. I might have to take that out just so I can get the thread tool in there properly without hitting anything. This is the repair kit that I'm going to use. I know this is probably not the proper way to fix a thread. Probably take the head off, re-weld the hole and tap it and drill it and tap it properly, but that'll fix it for now. Hopefully that doesn't cause any problems. Might stick the dump pipe out in the sun, let it dry because it's still wet. You got to soak this stuff in water, so let that dry, and then I don't know. Might tap the head first. Stage 1 is done. I've just drilled out the hole with the correct size drill bit to run the tap through. Trying real hard not to go too far or go into a water jacket or something. I reckon I'm just going to put the thread as close to the face of the head as I can, and just run the tap there. Oh, and use a shorter bolt instead of going all the way through. I really don't want to fuck this one up. So I mentioned earlier the reason why I prefer taking the exhaust manifold off is because it's super cunty trying to get to these bolts. So yeah, that's why I take it all off with the manifold. Alright, that's all done. That hole is massive now. Never used a die grinder before, surprisingly didn't nick anything. That flange is still good, and that face is still good, I should say. That's still flat, so when that closes it's still going to seal. Time to reassemble the turbo and bang it all back in the car. Alright, turbo's back on. We've got the bolt in, went in nice and easy. Got to connect the oil and cool lines, got to finish putting the bolts on the manifold and torque them up. We'll keep on plotting along. Alright, turbo is back on, all bolted up, all the lines are done. Well, everything's done except the oil return, but I'll do that in the morning because I've got to jack up the car to do the dump pipe where it meets the cat converter, so I'll do that in the morning. Do the oil return while it's up in the air, but everything at this point is pretty much done, so I'm going to call it a night now. Alright, back at it today. Did the fuel filter this morning. I don't think probably hasn't been changed in about 20 years because it's quite rusty. I'm probably going to do a swirl pot at one point and probably convert the fuel lines to AN. So today I need to put the exhaust back on, adjust the shift cable. Alright, we'll keep kicking on. Fucking kicking goals. So the oil return line is done. Almost ready to fill the coolant back up. Just finished adjusting the ratchet shifter. So I again didn't get any videos. I should have taken a video of what was wrong with it. So that's park. I don't know if I mentioned it is the original EB 4-speed auto. With a manual kit, so it's fully manual. So the problem I was having was it wouldn't go back into reverse. I had to knock it up twice to get it to go into reverse. But I've just spent an hour adjusting it. So that's park, reverse, neutral, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 2, 3, 4. Neutral, won't go into reverse until you lift that up. Bam, reverse, bam, park. So I don't have to knock it up an extra time to get it into reverse. I'm super happy that that's fixed. I didn't get any photos or videos of how I made it all fit, but basically I made a little drop box, cut out the around where the old shifter was. Had to take this out, and it's bolted in with the factory mounting points. I'll just show you. Taking that off. That just sort of sits on. I didn't want the cover poking through, so I actually had to clearance that out a lot. But yeah, it's super neat. And I'll show you the brackets under the car. So there's the cable. So the cable's going out towards the engine, coming back like an S, coming back through here, bending back around. I've used the Turbo 400 pan bracket and the Turbo 400 shifter, but I welded it to the factory Ford shifter bracket, and that just seemed to work. Did take me a while. I did try making my own brackets, but I found another fellow who just used the Turbo 400 bracket. The distance is almost identical from the pivot point to the cable mount. Yeah, perfect. Alright guys, she's all back together, she's running, no leaks, no weird noises. I've let the coolant cycle through a few times. She's at operating temperature now. So happy it's all ready for a tune now. Might just give it a quick wash and then I'll head on in. Sorry I didn't get more footage of me actually doing any work to the car. It's really hard with just one phone and no tripod. If you guys like what you see, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.